Okay, so tonight what we're going to talk about is balance. So I know for me, balance is something that is constantly changing. What is like the way that I'm balancing what's going on in my life, in my business, and my other job is a constant. It's just a constant struggle. It's totally something that is fluctuate and it's fluid and it changes all the time. And I think the biggest thing that I see with my team and with myself and with all of us here on Team VIP is that if you don't find the right balance and you don't realize when you're out of balance and get yourself realigned, you're never going to last in the business. You just won't be able to stay committed because it'll get too hard. You'll get too frustrated and you'll end up just bowing out, or what's even worse, you'll do like the shady fade, is like I like to call it. You just like slide out of the radar and then all of a sudden, oh, I think I'm going to just take a step back from coaching. And really, you probably have this amazing potential and these super big goals and this awesome vision, but you're letting other things kind of get in the way of it because you're feeling unbalanced, unhappy, unfulfilled, whatever that might be. So I know that's something that I am constantly rechecking myself on, and I want to talk about it today. So I'm going to try to go through it so we have enough time to chat and have questions at the end. If you have stuff, feel free to chat in the box, and I'll try to answer it along as we go through the little presentation. I have a very ugly PowerPoint presentation for you. Super boring, but that's part of my balance that we will talk about, making it pretty to not make the cut. Okie dokie. So balance is key to life. I feel like I am the elephant. Sometimes I feel like I am the beach ball. It really just depends on the day. So what I want to talk about first, we are going to dive right in. So I have 7 tips for you. And I hope that you did your homework that I put on the assignment, and I hope you wrote down those things that we talked about. When are your business hours? And if I asked you right now, I want you to be able to tell me when you work on your Beachbody business. I know that every single person in here has outside responsibilities that aren't Beachbody, whether you are a stay-at-home mom or you have kids and you have a job, whether you have a full-time job and fur babies. I know that everybody has other responsibilities besides coaching, which means that we are all in need of structure and balance to be successful. However, it's going to look different for everybody. But I hope that if I were to ask you, you could tell me when your Beachbody hours are. I know every day that I work on my business from this time to this time. Maybe you get up and you're a 5 a.m. person and you work on your business right away in the morning. Maybe you do it after the kids go to sleep. Mine, for me personally, isn't the same every day. So mine changes, but it's the same every week. So I make sure that on Sundays I plan when it's happening each week because my schedule is kind of crazy just with what's going on. And so I have to do it weekly instead of saying I get up every morning at 5 and do it, because that just it's not practical for me right now. But step number 1 out of 7, be proud of your business and share it with your peeps. So whoever your peeps are, your sister, your brother, your mother, your spouse, your team, your success partners, whoever those peoples are, you have got to be sharing your business and you have to be proud of it. I have been doing this for over 2 years now, and I am just now getting to a place where I tell everyone and their dog what I'm doing. And I'm so proud to be a health and fitness coach. And oh my God, I love my team and I love what I do, which has always been the case, but it's been like this best kept secret because for so long, I was almost like, I didn't want people to, judge me. I didn't want people to be like, what are you doing? I was almost timid about what I was doing. And I have no idea why. I don't know if it was because it was network marketing. I think it was most likely because I was chasing this huge dream and I was chasing this huge idea of, can I really make something out of nothing? Can I really help people doing this? Can I really create this full-time income? Like it was all these what ifs. And I think I was hesitant that maybe I could do it. And I just got to this place where I was like, if I don't believe in myself, no one else is going to believe in myself. If I don't take myself seriously, no one else is going to take me seriously. So if you aren't proud of your business, and when people ask you what you do, if the first thing out of your mouth is not, I'm a health and fitness coach, then you need to flip your mindset, because what do you want to be your full-time job? What do you want to be your long-term goal, your career, what brings home your money, what helps you be free from finances, free of time. If you want that to be Beachbody coaching, you want that to be your health and fitness coaching business, then that's what you have to lead with. I used to always tell people, oh, I work at Texas State and I teach classes there. And I'm also an online health and fitness coach. And also negative. Now I'm an online health and fitness coach. Yes, I still work at Texas State, not for long. We'll get to that later. But I'm an online health and fitness coach. I have an online business where I help people reach their goals through health and fitness. And I also help people build their own businesses. That's what I do. And I'm darn good at it. But when you come with that passion and that conviction, then people take you a lot more seriously. And I feel like sometimes we don't show up for our business, and we don't do a good job of staying committed to the things we said we were going to do, because in this business, nobody's going to see whether you worked or not. Nobody's going to know whether you did your invites or not. Nobody's going to know whether you're running a challenge group or not. Like, that's on you. That's part of being a CEO. But if you had a brick and mortar store that you owed a mortgage on every month, do you think that you would treat it with the same respect that you treat your business now? Because 100%, I bet you would work harder, because at the end of the month, that mortgage payment is coming, whether you like it or not. That store, it's standing there for people to see, whether you like it or not. So you want it to be something that you're proud of. Your health and fitness coach business is exactly the same way, but we just don't treat it that way. We treat it like this under the rug. If I have time, when I'm not busy, I might do this maybe. But we treat it like it's like this tiny little stepchild. However, we expect it to like pay us $1 million in a year. So we're not giving it the effort, but yet we want it to give us all this stuff. We want it to give us this freedom of time and this freedom of finances, but I'm only going to work on this business maybe in the cracks of time, if I have time, maybe one day. So just really thinking about investing in your business as though it's your brick and mortar, and be honest about what your goals are, and make sure the people around you know that. I have just recently started being super open about my business with Caleb. Not that I was never not open, but I was again kind of timid. Like, it was like my own thing, and I was just going to be a secret rock star and then just blow up in his face one day and be like, look what I did. And he literally was getting to the point where he's like, you do know I can see the bank account. Like, what is happening over here? And finally I was like, this is a big deal. Like, I think like you need to, this are my goals. This is what I'm doing. Here's what's happening. And so I really just started being more open with what my goals are. This is when I'm working. And it helps us a lot create balance between him working, me working, and us having family time where we are focusing on each other and not anything else. So that has helped a lot. So share what you're doing. Tip number 2, comparison creates distraction. So this one is so hard and will just leave you feeling unbalanced and unworthy and empty real fast. So comparison creates distraction, especially for us because our businesses are on social media. We constantly see what other coaches on Team VRP are doing. I don't know about you guys, but my news feed is nothing but coaches. Like, it is just one long string of coaches. And then you start to look at other coaches in the network. There's tons of other top coaches. There's other top teams. So then you kind of go down this black hole of searching other people. Well, what are they doing? And what do their posts look like? And what do their invites look like? But if you're trying to chase what someone else's, highlight reel on social media is looking like, you end up driving yourself crazy, and you're wasting time that you don't need to be wasting, and you just feel exhausted. No one is going to do a better job of being you than you. And you've just got to know that you've got the fundamentals. You know what you need to do, but you have to do it in a way that's authentic to you. And whatever that means for you is what it's going to look like. But we spend a ton of time figuring out how to become that person, whoever that person is for you. And that time drags us down, and it's a waste of time, and it helps to further unbalance that scale because you don't feel fulfilled, because you feel like you're falling short of whoever you're comparing yourself to. Maybe it's, okay, that person started at the same time I did, and they're much further along than I am. Or maybe it's not even a Beachbody coach. Maybe you're comparing yourself to someone else who's doing something, and, oh, they're doing so much better than I am. Maybe I'm not doing the right thing. And then you start looking at, well, what am I doing versus what are they doing? And it just is this game that just goes very sour very fast. So just don't do that to yourself. You're in your own race. You're playing your own game. And you've got to know that the effort that you are putting in is going to pay off. Whether that's a large effort, a small effort, it's going to pay off. Momentum catches up, positive momentum and negative momentum. So if you haven't invited for a month, that negative momentum is going to catch up, and you've got to know that, and you've just got to move past it. If you've been killing it for 3 months and you're like, man, when is it going to catch up? I promise you it's coming. Stay momentum. It will catch up. Positive or negative, it always catches up. You are a CEO, which means that you have freedom. You get to run your business the way you want to run it. You get to express on social media the way that you want to express. There is no police telling you what to say and how to say it and when to say it. Nothing at all. You can run your challenge groups any way you want. Train your team any way you want. But I think where we struggle and where we get our mindset out of place is that we forget that this is a business, and that in order to run a successful business, you have to show up to work. We want these great things that we see these other coaches and these teams and these people, even on Team VIP, that have gotten through their businesses, but we're not willing to put in the work, or we feel like, man, why am I not there yet? I've been doing this for like 6 months. Why am I not a millionaire? I did not understand. So just know that you've got to be willing to put in the dues. And yes, it comes so much faster than in other opportunities and in a normal situation, but we still have to put in the work. And you have to know, in this type of a business, you're going to put in so much work with not as much reward in the beginning, but later off that flips. And you hear that all the time. But it's hard when you're in that part of it. Until you get to that place where you're putting in a lot less work for a lot more reward, it feels like, oh, am I ever going to make it? Am I ever going to make it? And that's where you start to say, well, I think I'm just too busy, or I think I have this, or I think I have that. And that's where that balance shift comes into play. And so you've got to know, you've got to put in the time, and it will be worth it. You have to keep your eyes on the prize. Tip number 3, unplug. This is something that I used to be terrible at, and something that has been a huge goal of mine, especially for the end of 2016, beginning of 2017, because I was just running around like a fool. So some of you know my situation, some of you don't. When I first started coaching, I was the GM of a health club, and I was working at Texas State part-time. And then I had Corey, who was 6 months. So this was picking up coaching was a third job. And I had my first baby, and first-time moms, you know how that goes. It's nonsense. And then a year into coaching, I was at a place of unbalance where I felt like, oh gosh, what am I going to do? This is too much. I'm working too many hours. Something has to go. And I know that I want coaching to be my long-term commitment. And I know that I want coaching to be what my full-time job is and where I end up for my career. So I quit at the gym, which was a huge decision for me. But then I was working part-time for Texas State, and then I was at home, and then they asked me to go full-time. So then now I'm at a place where I work coaching, which is full-time. I consider this my full-time job, and Texas State is also full-time. But I do it both from home with 2 kids now, and I only have 2 days a week where I can work. So trying to fit in 2 full-time jobs in 2 days is craziness. And it can really make me feel like I'm scattered all the time, because I feel like there's just not enough hours in the day, which I know all of you feel like. But if you don't take time to unplug every day, you will go crazy. You will lose your mind and you will get nothing done. Because I was feeling those days that I was like running around and never unplugging. I was not getting more work done. It was not that my business was, moving any faster than it was when I was relaxing and taking a second. You have to give yourself that time to unplug so that you can mentally and physically be where you need to be, whether that is by yourself, with your spouse, with your family, with your girlfriends, whatever that is. You've got to have every day a little bit of unplug time. Maybe that's 15 minutes. For me, honestly, this is probably like TMI, but at the very end of the day, I pump right before I go to bed. And if I've done everything I'm supposed to do, my inviting, both jobs are done, both kids are asleep, the husband is usually passed out on the couch, poor thing. And I literally turn on trash TV. So like Real Housewives is my jam. And I only last for like 15 minutes because once pump time's over, I'm passed out. But that is my time. Like I unplug. I don't think. I just sit there and I like am a vegetable. And I feel like that's my reward every day. And I know it's coming and I'm so excited. But that is like my guilt-free. I do not think, and I just look. And then from 5:30 to 8:30 every day, my phone is in a drawer. because I wish I had more self-control, but I don't. So if my phone is in my visual eye line, I will be checking it all the time. So from 5:30 to 8:30, that is family time. That's dinner, kids, all that stuff. And my phone is put away in my drawer, cannot touch it. And all of you know that. I know that sometimes people message me and say, I know that you're in your family time window, but when you see this, will you tell me? So that's good, because I want to make sure that I share that with everyone, and so they know they can't reach me during that time. And it's been so great because I've communicated that with Caleb. He knows that, and he also knows at 8:30 that I pick it up and I go to work. And so he's not, feeling like, oh my God, you're always on your phone. And I'm not feeling guilty for saying, oh my God, I got to go work. We're on the same schedule and on the same page. But he also knows if I have my phone on me at 5:30, he's like, you need to put that in the drawer, please. And so we're both on the same page. It's guilt-free and it's awesome. Give yourself one day off every week, and don't worry about what day that is. Maybe it's Sunday, maybe it's Saturday, maybe it's Friday. For me, Sunday is a work day because it's a great day to invite. We've got our team call. It's just a good day to get things done for me. So Sunday is not a day that I take off of work. I don't work the whole day. Obviously, we've got church and family and all that, but I definitely spend an hour or two working, usually at night after the kids go to sleep. But sometimes my days off are Thursday. Sometimes they're Fridays. They're normally Thursday or Friday because those are the most calm days on people inviting and being excited to change their life, to be quite honest. That's what I found. So that's what I do. But choose one day. But just know that you've got to work on this business almost every other day. If you're not doing something for your business 6 days out of the week, you're not going to be moving at the pace you want to move. And whatever pace that is for you, it doesn't have to be a lot. Maybe you're working 30 minutes, maybe you're working an hour, but spread it out so that you don't feel like you're trying to do an entire week of inviting in one day. Because again, that makes you feel unbalanced. And every time you feel that unbalanced scale, you get stressed, you get anxious, and you want to just bow out. And that's what we're trying to prevent, because this is something you want to be able to do long term and feel good about. And you want to get to that place of pure freedom where you have such a more relaxed schedule. So you're in this rough spot of, I know I have to dig in. I know I have to be uncomfortable. I know I've got to work harder up front, but you also have to make it. And so you've got to find balance along the way. And that's what I'm hoping that this will kind of help out a little bit with. Step number 4, make hard choices. So like I talked about earlier, my first hard choice was leaving my full-time job at the health club because I was terrified, because I was making great income. And I was like, oh, good golly. So I made a very hard choice, and I told you guys that story, and I gave myself a year to make up the difference. And I was able to make up the difference. And now I'm making more per month than I was making there. And I gave myself that year to do it, and I was able to accomplish it. But the only reason was because I was willing to make that hard choice to jump off, because I knew that I was at such a place of unbalance that I wasn't going to be able to move forward. And so I made that tough choice, and it's turned out great. But you have to be willing to look at the things that are going on. And I'm not saying quit your job. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying you're going to get to points in your position where you've got to make hard choices, and they're very small in the beginning. So choices like social life, your lazy time, and I'm not saying don't be social, but pick and choose. Sometimes if you have it, you can't always say yes to go out to lunch or go out to dinner or go do this, because maybe that's your only time to work on your business. And you have to say, okay, this is my absolute only time. I've got big goals. Am I willing to sacrifice that to go and do this right now? Of course, there are extenuating circumstances. There's, events and there's birthdays and all that. But you know what I'm saying when it's just like, oh, hey, let's go do our nails, or, oh, hey, let's go shopping, or, oh, hey, let's go do this. Are those times that you could spend even an hour of that social time working on your business and moving forward to a place where you want to be with your business? Giving up lazy time, which I know doesn't seem like it should be a hard choice, but I know that it is for some people. Do you really need to sit and watch Netflix? Do you need to watch TV? Do you need to watch movies? If you feel like your body and soul is going to move forward from watching Netflix for 4 hours instead of working on your business, then go on with your bad self. But just be willing to look at those things and know, am what I'm doing allowing me to have balance in my life? Because for me, if I'm not working, I want to be enjoying my family. And if I'm not enjoying my family, then I want to be working, because I want to be moving myself forward. I want to be gaining that freedom. So I know that it's tough when you're doing it. Too many commitments is huge. there's so many things that you can jump in and be a part of, and so many groups and so many this and so many of that take a lot of time. And you have to say, okay, for the next year and a half, whatever the time frame looks for you, depending on where you are in your business, am I willing to just do the bare minimum of outside commitments so that I can focus on this and surge my business forward and get where I'm going? And then I'm going to pile on every other commitment I could possibly stand. So when you're thinking about you're joining a club or you're taking on responsibilities, and these are things outside of your job, outside of your family, outside of that bare minimum. When you're thinking of those things, think, is this an opportunity to move my business forward? Or is this something that's going to create further imbalance in my life? Because if it is, then is it going to hurt you to let go of it for a year and focus on your business, move yourself forward so that you can maintain that balance until you get to a place where you can have more freedom? I see some chatting. I will address those whenever I am coming, whenever I get to the end. Oh, I see your Rochelle. Yes. I love it. Keep the chatting coming. Okay. So hard choices, let me make sure I don't think I missed anything on there, but hard choices, that is the hardest for me. And the other thing I was going to talk about with that. So I'm at another hard choice spot, and we just made a decision last week, and I'm super pumped about it because we were getting to a place where, like I was telling you guys, I work a full-time job with Texas State, but I work it from home mostly. I go in twice a week. But during those 2 days a week, when I don't have my kids, I have to do all of my Texas State, try to do Beachbody, which never happens, by the way, but it's always on the list, never happens. And I'm trying to get a full-time job and Beachbody in those 2 days and life in those 2 days. And it just isn't working because I feel like then I'm more anxious and I'm stressed and I'm just trying to do stuff that's not working for me. So it was either that I was going to have to get more childcare for my kids so that I could work this full-time job at Texas State, or quit Texas State, because quitting Beachbody is not an option. Coaching is what I'm doing. I'm making more money coaching than I am teaching. I don't really know why I continue to teach other than it provides insurance, and I'm a loyal person who hates to let people down. So we made the decision that I'm quitting, and I'm so excited to let that go and to just be doing coaching full time. And it will be such a better balance for us because I won't have to worry about trying to fit in 2 full-time jobs into 2 days per week. Like, I'm an efficient person, but I have my limits. And I was just feeling like, why am I spending? And when I was working on Texas State, I was just having this feeling of, why am I spending this time working for someone else when I could be moving my business forward? And so that was a really hard choice for me, but I know it's the right choice because I know that time is going to be so much better utilized. The time that I'm spending on Texas State right now, if I wrap that time up and I roll it into my Beachbody business, that's going to pay me back tenfold over the next 5 or 10 years. What I'm doing, for this teaching, it's not. And again, I'm not telling you to quit your job. Hey, now, you slideshow, you back up. You back up right now. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm just saying, for me, finding balance, making those hard choices and figuring out where do I want to give and where do I want to take, you have to stop and you have to realign yourself to make sure that you're not putting so much on your plate that you're going to be miserable. Now, I was able to do 3 jobs and coaching for an entire year before I ever gave up one job, because we're going to talk about that a little bit later. You're going to go through seasons where you just got to dig in and you just got to move. And I'm still going to fulfill Texas State through August just because I'm a good human being and I'm not going to leave them high and dry. But I know that from now until August, it's going to be a place of unbalance, and I'm going to have to dig in and I'm going to have to suck it up, but I'm not going to let my coaching business fall because of that. I'm going to surge and I'm going to know that it's going to be better by the end of the year. But that's mental, and that's knowing, and that's still building balance along the way. No, it's not perfect, but it will be. Okay, number 5, be productive, not busy. This is like the most important one. So create a no matter what list. You know that your business will not move forward if you are not inviting every day. This is something that Laura and Raquel and myself made a huge mistake of in the beginning. We never invited, like ever. We played on social media. We ran challenge groups. We did not do daily invites. I do not know why. And it really affected how fast we could have surged in the business. Do not make that mistake. Your business will not move forward if you do not invite every day. It just won't. So engaging with new people and inviting have to be the most important things to you. Everything else, if it doesn't happen today, the world will not crumble. Just know that. Being anxiously attached to your phone is not working. This is something I also had to learn, okay? I would like have my phone on me all day, and I'd be like in the car and Caleb would be talking and I'd be like, oh my God, I'm returning a message, and just attached to my phone all day. It's not working. You're crazy. You're making the people around you crazy. You're making yourself feel unbalanced, but you're not working more efficiently. So when it's not work time, don't work. When it is work time, be efficient. Don't get caught up in the mess. Don't scroll Facebook. I know sometimes when I first sit down to start working, I will look up and it has been 20 minutes and I have done nothing because I've just been scrolling through nonsense, and I'm like slapping myself like, Jessica, you have an hour. Could you please get it together? Don't let yourself get caught up in that. Don't waste time doing PicMonkey and photo apps and getting trapped in the scroll stopping. Get your content moving, get your actions going. Like this PowerPoint is really not the cutest thing that ever happened. It's so bubba boring I could cry, but that was low on the priority list. It was either make a pretty PowerPoint or do something actionable for my business. You see the black and white. But that's what you've just got to set those tiny priorities, because making this pretty would not have made the presentation better for you. And research shows that people do better with black and white, so there's that. But just know, don't spend so much time thinking, do more time doing. I will tell you from experience, you spend more time thinking about your Beachbody business than you actually do working on it. More time saying, oh, I need to do this, and oh, I need to do that, and oh, I need to do that still. If we got paid for the amount of time that we thought about what we needed to do for Beachbody, good Lord alive, we'd all be millionaires already. Don't do that to yourself either. Just take that action. Take that time and just do it. Don't think about how long you need to do it. Just do it and focus. Don't allow yourself to be attached to your phone all the time, because that is the top thing that makes you feel unbalanced, because the people around you start feeling like you're being unbalanced. So don't allow that phone to be attached to you. Work when you say you're going to work, and unplug when you say you're going to work. When you're going to unplug. For your action item, create a daily priority list for your personal life and your business life. So again, for me in my business life, the top 3 every day is engagement, adding to my network, inviting. If nothing else happens in my day, those 3 things have to happen. Your personal life, make sure you're taking care of yourself. Work out, personal development, eat well. Because if you don't feel good about yourself, you're never going to do your business. And even if you are doing your business, but you feel miserable about yourself, that comes across in your messages. People feel that. People feel it when you send them voice messages. People feel the energy in your content. You got to take care of yourself, and you've got to take care of your business, but only worry about 3 things. And if that's all you have time for, that's all you have time for. And then go to bed, call it a day, move forward. Don't let yourself feel guilty about that. Okay, number 6. I promise there's only 7. I don't know what time. Oh my gosh, I'm already at 9:30. I'm the worst. Okay, I'll go fast. Be willing to think outside the box. Work when you can and commit to making it happen. So this is something I feel like we do sometimes. We set our business hours, and then for whatever reason, it doesn't happen. And that's going to happen. But if you said you're going to make sure that your invites happen before you go to bed, then freaking stick to it. Because the first time that you let yourself down, the second time you'll let yourself down. You are the only person that you're letting down. And you know you don't want to let yourself down, but when you do it the first time, it's hard. When you do it the second time, it's a little easier. And then you just let yourself down over and over and over until you're not doing it at all. And then you just start to feel down on yourself, and you start to say, I can't do this business, it's too hard. When it's not. It's just those little decisions, they add up. Whether they're positive or negative, they add up. Think about every day that you do something in your business that you didn't have time for. That little confidence meter, boop, goes up. Your balance feels better. Boop, goes up. Every time you do your invites, you feel this surge of like, I'm a rock star and I'm about to get people in front of me. And then people tell you no, and you're like, oh, I'm stupid. I'm not going to invite for 4 days. I'll show them. Negative. But you've got to be able to bounce back, and you've got to commit to what you say you're going to do. Successful people get up early. They just do. And I'm not saying that you need to. I'm not in a spell of getting up early because, well, I'm not there because my kids stay up all night right now. I work at night right now, but I do much better when I work early in the morning. And for the first year and a half of my business, I was a 5 a.m.er every day working my business like a crazy person. And as soon as my kids get back under control, I will go back to that life. But until then, I will be a crazy night owl. But either way, I said I was going to do it, and gosh darn it, I'm going to do it. So if I have to be a night owl, that's what I'm going to do. Maximize your time. Work while other people sleep. If you've got kids, they don't sleep as much as adults, so you've got time there. Do your personal development in the car or during your workouts. For a lot of programs, once you've gone through the workouts, you kind of know what's coming. I set up my personal development right next to my workout, and I knock it out. And I do them together, and by the end of it, it's like this go-go juice magic, and I feel like I'm on top of the world. So I love, love, love that. Voice messages in the car. If you have, I do this sometimes. So if I have a list of people maybe I need to return messages to, or a list of people that I'm inviting, I'll put it on a sticky note and I'll put it on my dashboard, and I get in the car and then I'll voice message. And then boom, I could have sent my invites right then in the car on a 10-minute drive. So that's an idea for you. Thinking outside of the box and getting creative, not feeling like, I feel like sometimes we get trapped in this. Even though we're running our own business, we get trapped in this Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 job mindset. If you got to work on Sunday, work on Sunday. The weekends do not mean that you're like done. The weekends, that's a great time for us to work. Power pockets of time throughout the week are a great time to work. This isn't an 8 to 5 job, so don't treat it like that. Once you're outside of those 8 to 5 hours, don't feel like, oh, I didn't get it done. I better go sit on the couch and relax and be sad about it. Like, you've got to just know when you've got time, do it, whether that's the weekends or the morning or it's at night or it's lunchtime, whenever that is. And if you have to schedule it every day because every day is different for you, do that. If every week's the same for you, do that. Don't box yourself into, well, that person does their power hour at 5 a.m., but I can't do that, so I'm not going to do anything. Do what works for you. It doesn't matter. If your power hour is at 2 p.m. in the afternoon, cool. Do that. Whatever you can do that will help you be consistent. So I want you to list a pocket of time that you can better utilize, because I'm pretty sure even just today, we could have all found an hour out of this day that we might have wasted doing something, that we could have done our business and we could have moved forward and felt empowered by that and still felt balanced. So I want you to think about one pocket of time you could have better utilized. Number 7, expect the unexpected. Your teams are going to fall apart, and you might have to rebuild them. You might surge when you're not expecting it. You may be pushing on the gas, and feeling like you're not having anybody say yes. And then all of a sudden, everybody says yes. Your relationships might be awesome. And then you know what? You might have issues. You might have somebody sick. You might have somebody die in the family. You might have some issue with your spouse where you're going through a rough spot. Your kids might be going through teething, or they might be not sleeping, or they're moving to college. Your other job may be really requiring a lot of you. I know for me right now, my other job is I am in like the peak busiest season, running around with my head cut off, might not sleep for 2 weeks, period. But that happens. That's going to happen. So you're going to find these times when you're unbalanced, when you don't feel like you have it all together, where you don't feel like you're unplugging enough, where you don't feel like you're settled and you don't feel like you're having enough freedom of time. You're going to go through pockets of unbalance, but just know that you're going to get through that. You have to be willing to dig in, push through it, and you've got to tell somebody. You've got to tell your success partner, your upline, your spouse, whoever it is, and hopefully multiple people. You've got to tell people, I'm in a funk, or I'm just not doing good in my business right now because of XYZ. And I know I should be doing better, but I'm not. You got to help me. Or what do you think? What are some new ideas? Bounce it off of somebody. There's never going to be a perfect time. There's never going to be a perfect excuse. But here's what I will tell you. There are people that have done amazing things with this business, and they have had every excuse in the book. They have had tragedy. They have had illness. They have had setback after setback after setback. And you know what? They surged. And then there are other people in this business who have had every excuse valid to quit. And you know what? They quit. And no option is right or wrong, but I'm just telling you that if you want to wait for the right time to surge, when, okay, I'm going to wait till August, or I'm going to wait till November, because then I'm really going to be ready, and I'm really going to have enough time to do this, or I'm going to wait till summer, I'm really going to have enough time then. You're not. something else is going to come up. Something else is going to keep you busy. You're going to be on vacation, or I don't know, the geese are going to fly. I do not know, but something else will come up. There's never going to be a good time. You're always going to be in a rough spot with something. You're always going to be trying to figure out, okay, I'm not feeling balanced. Let's shift some things around and let's reconfigure. It's not going to be perfect, but you can get through this feeling balanced along the way to your ideal freedom, to what that means for you, because it's different for everybody. But you can create that balance along the way. You just have to stop, reevaluate, and above all else, move your business forward every single day, even if it's an inch, because at least you moved forward. Because if you're not moving forward, you're moving backward. And then all the work that you did up until then, it becomes useless. And so continually drudge forward. Sometimes you are going to be just kicking it and you're running on the pavement in the sand in the beautiful weather. And sometimes you are barely moving through the mud up to your knees, can hardly move. But as long as you're moving forward, you're doing perfect. So I know that it can be hard to find balance. When you choose to work through it, things always come out better. When you choose to kind of follow that easy route, let those excuses get in your way, things always become harder. So just know, we as Team VIP, we're in this together. We've got this. We have to lean on each other. There is a way to have balance along the way, but it's going to be uncomfortable for a little bit because we're building a business, and that doesn't just happen overnight, and that doesn't just get handed to us. We're going to have to work for it. And especially for a lot of us who have other jobs that we're having to balance alongside family life until we can get to a place where we can jump off and be coaching only, or just be at a place where maybe our kids are super young, and once they get to a school age, there's going to be a whole new level of balance. But until then, we got to work through the balance together, and we have to figure out what works for us in that moment and be true to your business and be honest and proud of where you are. Okay, I know I went 9 minutes over, and I'm really, really sorry, and I missed the chatting boxes. Is there any questions? Was this a lot of rambling? Did it help at all? Nodding. Sympathy nods. Sympathy nods. Yeah. Oh, Jay Bobo's got something. I'm going. Okay, let me check in the chat to see if there's any questions.
Jessica,
I'm trying to talk, but she's muted.
Jessica Warren. It was great. I needed the balance talk.
Oh, Elisa, there you are. Oh, good. Yeah. I'm glad. I needed the balance talk too. That's why I did it.
Yeah.
And if you check the chat, like everybody, it just resonated with everyone. Thank you, Jessica.
Good. I'm so glad.
And then I found this on Team VIP, and it's like super, I know you can't see it. It's like super laid out for the whole month as far as like it's a power hour. It's laid out for the month, but it has like house chores, kitchen, kids and laundry, windows and mirrors. Raquel, is that you?
No, that's Jessica.
That's you? Okay.
I'm a crazy person. Mm-hmm. That's me searching for balance.
I like it because I need something that's more direct like that, and so that made a huge difference.
Yeah, and so in like brain dumps, I saw somebody comment about doing brain dumps. I do that every night. So for me, like when I was saying I create my top 3 for my personal life, top 3 for my business life for the next day, I do it every night so that when I get up in the morning, I know what I have to do and I can like move forward. But I try to just get it all out before I go to sleep. Yes, brain dump for life. I'm totally the same way. But that helps me a lot. But for some people, it's better when they like are up in the morning drinking coffee. That's when they kind of schedule out. But if you don't get it out and here's what doesn't work. When you kind of just hit the ground running for the day and you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to get those invites in later, or I'm going to get whatever, well, maybe it's your post or challenge group or whatever. I'm going to get it in sometime. That is the surefire way to feel like a failure all day long and never get it done anyway. And those are the days that you feel unbalanced because you're anxious all day because you know you have this thing to get done, but you have no plan of attack on getting it done, and you end up going to bed not doing it. And so you feel terrible about yourself. You feel unbalanced, and yet nothing productive ever happens. So it's like a lose-lose. And so that's what I want you guys to move and find that balance way faster than I did, because it's something that I struggled with, and I realized I was spending a lot of time worrying about it. And if I would have just taken action instead of spending that time worrying about it, I would have moved so much faster. Okay, well, I know I've taken a lot of time. Yes, it's recorded. Somebody asked that in the chat, but I will post the recording today. Somebody just asked, do you plan your Facebook post for the next day? Most of the time, yes, I will plan kind of what I'm going to do. Sometimes it's off the cuff. Definitely when I was working at the gym, I planned them ahead of time because I had meetings so often that I couldn't post at certain times. A lot of you teachers probably have the same thing. So for that, I would definitely plan ahead. I take pictures constantly all day long, and I just bank them up. I bank them up in albums for nutrition, for workouts, for life, motivation. And so then when it's time to post, I just pick one up from one of those albums and away we go. Rarely do you see a picture on the same day on social media. It's been like a couple days ago. So, and my parents always be like, I didn't know you were there. I'm like, I wasn't. Okay, stop it. It's not real time. Get off me.
So true. Okay, before we leave real quick, I posted Coach Boot Camp starts tomorrow. The link to